It's not about politics, it's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
Not just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to It's Just Football. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner. Coming off the heels of a hometown Cincinnati Bengals win. Mike, I don't know about you, but I couldn't sleep last night after that win. And it wasn't because I was a Bengals fan. It's because people wouldn't shut the hell up outside of our apartment because the city was buzzing last night with a big-time win.
City was buzzing. I did not expect it. I was sitting here, obviously, singing the praises of the Miami Dolphins beforehand, picking them to cover the spread, and Bengals pulled it out.
Couldn't be me.
Now,
couldn't be me.
Obviously, they got a little help in that regard, and the fact that Tua Tagovailoa unfortunately going out in the middle of the game, but I thought their defense still played well even with Tua in the game.
Big time win for the Bengals. They certainly needed it. Only one undefeated team left in the NFL. It's the Philadelphia Eagles after last night. So shout out to the Bengals for that. We're going to dig into all of those things. We're going to dig into the stats that really stand out to us from Thursday Night Football as we recap it. But on this show, we've got two guests. We're going double guest for the first time in It's Just Football history. We've got Ian Hartitz on to talk about start sit for fantasy, so make sure you guys have your questions ready for that. And we chatted with Kwity Paye, Colts edge rusher, yesterday to ask him about big divisional matchup against the Tennessee Titans coming up this weekend and some other things too. We had a lot of fun with that interview, so I'm excited for you guys to see it. Let's check in on everybody in the production suite. We've got Quinn, we've got Sav, we've got Stone, and we've got Eli. How are we feeling? Quinn, I'm surprised we don't have any Bengals gear from you at all right now after the big win last night.
Yeah, I went through a little bit. I went through a lot actually yesterday. I had a Bengals t-shirt on. I had my Bengals quarter zip on the show, and then I went home, worked out, showered, changed, put on another Bengals t-shirt.
Of course,
the white color rush jersey on. So I'm running low on Bengals gear. I kind of blew my load a little bit yesterday.
He's like Joey from Friends, where he just puts on literally every piece of clothing that Chandler has. That was Quinn yesterday with his Bengals gear.
What a good idea though for whoever the Bengals marketing team is for the all white color rush, like because the Bengals have never been known for like white apparel, so everyone owns it's like orange, black. And so you get this all-white color rush. You have these real sick uniforms.
True.
And all of a sudden you make every single person who was there yesterday buy some new Bengals gear. So hats off to the marketing team.
The schmucks that bought the Burrow color rush rookie jersey in his
the
only time that he would ever wear that. And it's like, oh, shit, this jersey, I got to go get a new one. Actually, no, you don't, because we're going to bust that thing back out for the color rush. And it looked great. I love the Bengals unis.
We were tailgating yesterday for the game. We didn't go to the game, but we had to tailgate. We had to get the vibes. Unfortunately, did not come away victorious overall with beer dye. I'm very disappointed in us.
Yeah, it wasn't our best show.
It really was not. I think we got screwed.
Cornhole's a little better.
Cornhole was a little bit better. So at least we got some pride in that. So I'm happy about that. But there were people who were walking around the tailgate, and Bengals fans really do tailgating right. I saw multiple people wearing the entire Bengals fit, including the new white helmet.
Yeah.
And they're just walking around the tailgate with like a Bud Light in their hand, and they're like a full helmet. I'm like, how are we? Where's the logistics? How you getting past the face?
Bengals tailgate seems nice.
It's
a good spot. It's a good, and they got like a good setup. They got a lot of lots like right next to stadiums.
It's true. It's true. If you've never been to Cincinnati for a tailgate, you need to make it happen. It is a great tailgating scene down here in Cincinnati, and a big Bengals win. I don't want to say because of it, but it helps. City's rallying around the team, which is great.
It was necessary, right, for the Bengals too.
They needed it. They absolutely needed it. We're going to dig into a lot of the things that stood out from us the most in that game. But before we do that, Quinn, do you have a question of the day for us that the chat can chew on throughout the day? What do we got?
We do. So you mentioned undefeated teams.
Yes.
Since the 1970 merger, 236 teams have started 3-0. How many of those teams made the playoffs?
I love any question that starts off with since the merger.
Yeah.
It's just such an elite way. Okay, 236 teams started 3-0. How many made the playoffs? Are we playing Price is Right rules, like we can't go over?
We can. Do you guys want to do that?
I think we should.
That's your Price is Right rules.
All right, Price is Right rules, can't go over. Everybody in the chat, you say your answer. You only get one entry. Don't cheat. You don't have to say it right away, but think about it. 236 teams started 3-0. How many made the playoffs?
I'm going to go 162.
All right, 162. I feel like that's a little conservative.
Yeah, that's like right in the neighborhood of 60%.
I feel like that's a little conservative. I'm gonna go 207.
Okay. Oh, so you're
162 and 207.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going way higher. I'm not gonna $1 bob you and just go with one number ahead of you just so I could beat you.
Yeah, that one kind of people don't do that.
I'm not gonna $1 you. Although if I was on The Price is Right, make no
definitely
mistake,
should. Yeah.
I'd absolutely box your ass in.
There's no reason not to.
I'd be coming home with the double showcase.
Yeah.
I'd be getting my ass up there on that podium. But okay, I'm
guess 86.
I'm guessing 286 total. Nate says 5.
That's like the proportion. That's less than the proportion of teams in the NFL like to start. You're saying like teams that go 3-0 have a worse chance of making the playoffs than normal teams.
I'm going 207, which is very high.
That's high.
But
Yeah.
I feel like
But
it is
has
high.
to be a high track record, right?
Yeah.
You know, anyone that wins 3 games in a row at any point in the season is probably a good indicator of them being a good team.
Okay, y'all can fight out. We'll also ask this at the end of the show, so y'all can get another number.
We'll wait to
but-
reveal the answer.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Wait till the end of the show. Let's see if we can get some more answers. Mine was 207. What was yours?
162.
162. All right, those are the answers. We've got some answers coming in for that. Let's refresh the timeline, though. Let's go back to the Thursday night's game. And before the game, very interesting fit from our guy, Joey B.
Ooh, interesting to say the least.
Joey B. I'm being nice saying interesting. Can we get a picture of the fit pregame? Look, Joe's a man of swagger. He's a man of confidence, moxie, if you will. They say that if you walk confidently, you can wear whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
That's a fucking horrible thing. It's awful, dude. What do you want me to say? Look at him. He's wearing sneakers. The white rose. Is there like a story behind it? Does he have like is there something
Maybe
that I
there
should
is.
feel bad for like making fun of him right now?
I was going to say, maybe there's
Is
something
it, like,
sentimental and you just
his
shit on him.
grandmother or something?
Nah, he said after the game last night, he's like, I just like stuff that I just wear stuff that I like.
Yeah, well.
So there's
That's
no story.
So does like toddlers. We grow up. We grow up, Joe.
Why is that always the
Kidding,
case?
I'm kidding, but yeah.
I feel like people who get a lot of money then all of a sudden like start dressing like crazy out there.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like
like-
that progressive, like, it's like why they drive like $1 million cars. It's like because the normal stuff doesn't do it. Like doesn't do it for you anymore.
Oh, so he's a junkie.
You know, like
So
yeah,
he-
exactly.
so
Like,
he's got to wear
to that
a
or whatever it
white
is.
rose suit
Yeah.
just to feel something.
There you go.
Just to feel alive.
Yeah, he does.
Maybe he's
If
a
he
little,
goes out in jeans and a t-shirt, he like wants to off himself. He's like, this sucks. I can't.
Man, there's a little psychology going in there.
Yeah.
Maybe that helps him play well. I don't know.
Maybe the offensive line should start wearing some crazy shit.
What if he and the offensive linemen all wore the same stuff?
matching.
Like what
If they all
if
came
what
in
if
that suit,
Joe
too. Then that's
bought that same exact suit for all 5 of the starting offensive linemen that game, and they all rolled up to the stadium at the same time? wearing the
Then
same
I'm cool
stuff?
with that. I need more of that actually. O-line and quarterback, like unity, like them showing up together as like they're Lyle Collins said that he's just bodyguard, but not obviously acting like it, but that sort of camaraderie there. I need more of that in the NFL.
Browns
I'd do if I was Cuban.
Browns said White Lotus. Bonkers said he didn't like it. Oh, Abe said he liked it.
Oh wow, we got chats on yes for that.
Yeah, we've got some chat on yes.
Oof.
BJ says, I love Mike, but I'd never take fashion advice from him. What do you mean? Come on.
I'm not in the business of giving fashion advice.
I don't know.
Barely in the
I
business
don't
of
know.
giving football advice.
I don't know. Yesterday, the Bengal shirt and the 5-inch sweatshorts really stood out.
That fit was. I
So-
wear that on dates.
Obviously, Burrow played well last night. 20 of 31, 287 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had a lot. I think he had a handful of big time throws in that game, which was fun to see. It was fun to see the Bengals offense really get those chunk plays again, something that we saw a lot last year. Let's refresh timeline again. Something that we definitely have to get to. It's an update on Tua Tagovailoa. You mentioned him not being in the game probably helped the Bengals be victorious in this one, but it was a scary scene, and we're not going to show you the replay because y'all have seen it enough, unfortunately, from the broadcast, so we're not going to show the replay again. But obviously a head injury for Tua Tagovailoa. Gets transported to UC Hospital, their trauma center, immediately afterwards in an ambulance, but the reports were that he was first conscious, which is good. Then he had feeling in all of his extremities, which is good. And then the latest update that we had is he traveled back with the team, was wearing a neck brace. All of the results were negative, no broken bones, nothing like that, but then he's going to get an MRI today. Mike, there's a scary scene, man, especially going off of what we saw last week. And when I say last week, I mean just 4 days ago, Sunday, when he stumbled and couldn't even stand. Now, the Dolphins said it was a back injury, cleared him from concussion protocol, but come on, man. I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor, but it don't look like no back injury that we saw 4 days ago.
Yeah, we'll see what it comes of. FLPA is doing an investigation on what the doctor was told, how he cleared concussion protocol last Sunday, and then how he was cleared to play this Thursday. We'll see what comes of that. But I do think it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say he took a hard headshot last Sunday and took a hard headshot this Thursday that compiled in a way that scary for his long-term career prospects. I'm worried about Tua Tagovailoa after the serious injury he had in college. This now, it's just unfortunate that it keeps happening to this guy.
Dude, and head injuries are tough, man. There's so much that's still kind of unknown about him, and that's why we are very cautious, or we want people to be very cautious about them. I don't know, Mike, how big of a hockey fan you are, or anybody who's in the chat, but Sidney Crosby, one of, if not the best hockey player over the last decade. He's just an unbelievable talent, but there was a chunk of time for 2 years when he really didn't play at all, and that was because he had a concussion, kind of rushed back, got another concussion soon after that, and it compiled, and he almost lost his career. One of the most talented hockey players that have ever played the game almost lost his entire career because he came back too soon from a concussion, and he suffered another one. That's really that's what I think people are up in arms about, is you rushed him back and put him in a situation where he's in danger, and it's not like, oh, Tua just goes back at the concussion protocol. You start compiling these kinds of brain trauma injuries on somebody, and this guy might lose his freaking career. And that would just that is the part that's so, I don't know, infuriating. Obviously, we all have a lot of emotions about it, but that's the tough part, to see him on the ground last night knowing that he probably had a concussion the week before. Yeah. That was the tough part about it.
Yeah, and it is. That's the thing. It's the unknown. It's that one concussion for one guy may not be the same as the concussion that Tua suffered. Just because he's cognitive and responsive doesn't mean that his brain hasn't suffered severe damage that can then compile, like you said, with another hit like we saw on Thursday night. That was, I don't want to say run of the mill, but that hit that he took Thursday night is not a hit that often leads to the fencing response that we saw from him. Right. Being completely unconscious on the football field. So that's the scary part.
It is. Last thing that I'll say about it, because we wanted to make sure that we just kind of gave you guys an update, but talking about saving players from themselves, right? A lot of players, NFL, both current and former, were tweeting about this last night, and a lot of these players have said, hey, nothing is guaranteed, right? You only get to play this game for so long. So many of these guys are going to go out and play when they can physically stand. They're going to say, yes, put me in the game. I saw a clip that was going around Twitter last night. It was from, I believe, the I Am Athlete podcast, where Ryan Clark and Mike Tomlin were on the podcast. Ryan Clark had the sickle cell disease, where it was a scary situation for him to play in the high altitudes of Denver. Steelers were playing in Denver, and Ryan Clark said that he went to a different doctor. The doctor said, no, you're cleared, you're great, you could play in this game. And he said that him and this doctor were pitching this idea of him playing to Mike Tomlin. And Mike said he stopped him 5 minutes into it. He's like, if you were my kid, we wouldn't be having this discussion. And Mike later in the podcast said, I got to put my head on the pillow at night and think about the risk that I would have been putting you on. And sometimes it is on these head coaches and these teams to save players from themselves. And I don't know everything that went into this situation. I'm not even trying to chastise Mike McDaniel on this because I don't know everything about it. But we do need to do a really damn good job of making sure that these players, we're protecting them from themselves sometimes. Because that is a major part of it too.
And especially now with 17 games. Erring on the side of caution for any injuries is the safe long-term bet for your team. The chance of losing a guy, rushing a guy back for injury for this game when there's, 14 more in the schedule here, 14 more weeks in the schedule, it's not worth it, you want to be healthy come playoff time, rush a guy back right now. I don't care what injury it is, even head injuries, even leg injuries, even whatever it is. To me, it's short-sighted and a dated sort of coaching trope that we continue to put out there.
I mean, that's a good segue into kind of what we wanted to talk about and some takeaways from the game. There's a chance that Tua might not be playing for a little while here, which means that Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the starting quarterback. We got a glimpse of what Teddy Bridgewater was last night, so we've got some stats of Bridgewater versus Tua when they were in the game before Tua went out. And Bridgewater, 14 for 23, 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. You guys can see it kind of on the screen there, but Mike, I'll just ask you as you can kind of talk over the numbers. What did you think for Bridgewater? How much faith do you have in him given the weapons that Tua had that now are Bridgewater's disposal?
That's the thing. I don't think they're screwed, right? Long term, like if Bridgewater has to play 3-4 weeks, whatever it will be, I think he can still put up points in this offense. Like this offense is just built to need a facilitator at quarterback, and that's what Bridgewater's been most of his career. I don't think he's quite as accurate as Tua. I don't think he has the high end that we've seen from Tua already this season. But this game, without getting the reps in a short week, he was behind the 8 ball. You're never going to look good in that scenario. I don't care how much talent you have around him. And so, yeah, he struggled, but I think he still moved the ball, and you still have these weapons that are going to make plays for you. So I'm not, if Tua is going to miss an extended period of time, I'm not pushing the panic button on the Dolphins whatsoever.
Yeah, I think that everyone always loves to, when a backup quarterback has to come in the game, all the reporters, and I'm not saying that this is bad on the reporters at all, but they always go, I asked the backup quarterback like how you're preparing, and they all say, I prepare like I'm the starter. They all say that, but like when you don't have that experience, when you haven't been in the game in a while, to your point, what you were saying there, it's not going to be the same.
Yes.
Mental reps aren't the same as physical reps, both important in different ways, but yeah, there was no way that Bridgewater was going to come out and just absolutely light the world on fire last night.
Yeah, I agree.
But when we look at another category of stats that mattered, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are exactly what this Dolphins team envisioned them to be, because when you look at the first 4 weeks here with these guys, at least one of them is going off every single week. 1 week, obviously the week 2 matchup that they had against the Ravens, both of them went absolutely bananas. But 1 week, someone is going off amongst this group. It's not like it's, our top wide receiver isn't producing this week. Where are we going to go with it? One of these guys is going to produce, and that's an incredible luxury to have.
And that's why I was so high on them in the preseason. Everyone has, back to KC when Hill was there, it's like, yeah, you can put a cap on Hill if you want. Like, you can put safety help on Hill if you want. If you want a game plan to stop the big plays for him, you can do that. But now you have 2 of those guys. You can't do both. You're not going to get doubles on both of them. If you do, you're going to leave a lot of holes in your defense. So that's what makes this Dolphins offense so scary, and why they're probably still built, even with Teddy Bridgewater quarterback, to put points on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a backup quarterback, this is the offense that you would want to come in for, right? Yeah. Because look, if you're a quarterback who can hit deep, they can do it for you. If you want to be somebody who could just kind of dump it off, put the ball in the playmaker's hands, 2 of the best in the business right there with the speed that they have. So I feel like there's still schematic versatility and play calling versatility with what you can do and how you can deploy these guys. I totally agree with you, but it's been incredible to see. We don't often see a lot of return on investments like we are seeing with the wide receivers in Miami, and that's why they're having such a great start to the season. Tyreek Hill, for as much as we kind of clowned on the fact that he said that Tua was more accurate than Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek is on pace for career years in basically every single category. Targets, catches, yards, it's all there for him. So they're certainly dialing it up for him. Let's flip sides, though. Mm-hmm. One other stat that I want to talk about is the Cincinnati Bengals. They come away with the win. I don't mean to be negative about it. I don't want to rain on the parade too much. But the play calling, especially on early downs, Mike, is not super encouraging. This is what a lot of people kind of complain about. All these first down runs going into the week. They ran the ball more than they passed the ball on first down again last night. It just feels like, as much as people plea, pass the ball more in early downs, that's not Zach Taylor's identity.
And that's why, massive for them to get the win. But does anything feel fixed in Cincy? No. This feels like they just hit on the big plays that kind of weren't getting hit on throughout the first 3 weeks of the season. So I'm still very much worried about this Bengals team because of this. Because they are, falling for this fallacy of, to protect a quarterback, to make sure Joe Burrow doesn't get hits, establish the run, make sure the run game's going, that 15-10 run pass split, make sure you're getting that, yards on first, second down. When first down's the easiest down to pass on in the NFL, the easiest in terms of not getting your quarterback hit, being able to attack down the football field, because defensive linemen have to respect the threat of the run. Linebackers have to respect the threat of the run on early downs. On third down, they don't. So they're getting themselves in these third and longs. That's when Joe Burrow gets killed, and not taking advantage of the times when Joe Burrow maybe has an easier go of it, because this offensive line, again, against the Dolphins defensive line, that's not any great shakes, got their ass handed to them.
Yeah, worrisome. That, to me, that's the biggest thing with the Bengals is, how low is the ceiling if they continue to kind of play call like this? Do they have what it takes to score enough points against some of the the big boys, right? The teams that are going to light up the scoreboard in the AFC. They were able to do it. They were able to catch fire last year, and they were able to be pretty efficient when scoring. But if you're going to have this same script, that is what worries me about the Bengals. Big win, but we still need to see more change there, I think.
2.4 yards per carry yesterday as a team.
It's bad. It's awful.
And they still ran it 28 times.
Is Joe Mixon cooked?
Is Joe Mixon cooked? I mean, I don't even know if it's Mixon, really. I mean, I think Mixon's fine. I've always kind of thought that Mixon was fine. Mm-hmm. I just think they're leaning on him way too much.
Yeah.
Even going into this week, I think he led the NFL in carries, right?
It's absurd.
I think he's going to lead the NFL in carries after this week, too. So, hey, you know what? Mixon's getting in the action. So let's look ahead to week 4. We've talked enough about this game. This game's in the books. Let's look at some of the other games that we have on tap for this weekend. We got a big one with Sunday Night Football. It's Tampa Bay versus Kansas City. That game's not changing their location. That one is staying in Tampa. But what about some other matchups? What's something else that you're looking forward to this weekend when it comes to the Sunday slate?
Game of the week, Jags at Eagles, man. Last undefeated team. We may go to week 5 without an undefeated team. Mercury Morris could be celebrating earlier than ever this year. That's the game I'm looking for, because more so for the other side, so for the Jags side. I think we all know the Eagles are a likely playoff team at this point. But are the Jags really going to take control of the AFC South? Do they have what it takes to, usurp the Colts and Titans, who play each other, obviously, this weekend as well? So that's the game I have my eyes on, and we'll be watching probably the most closely.
This one definitely means the most to the Jags, I think. I guess you could say, hey, Eagles at home should take care of business. Let's take care of business against a team we should beat. But I think this is a true barometer game for the Jags. Because last week, yes, big win against the Chargers. The Chargers were hurt a lot. Justin Herbert was hurt especially. Yes. So it's can you come out? Let's play a good team here. What are the Jags? We get to figure that out this weekend. Bills, Ravens. Ben Solak said on our show earlier this week that winner of this game, whoever outduels who at the quarterback position, probably going to be the front runner for MVP for a while here as the season goes on.
Yeah, so some heavyweight bouts. That one, Chiefs at Bucks. Definitely looking forward to both of those games. It's good barometers. We're trying to sort out who's the best team in the NFL. Who's the front runner, because everyone has their flaws and whatnot. Is it going to be one of those 4 teams? It very well could be. Those are 4, probably the 5 or 6 best teams in the NFL right now. I
want to hear what game you guys are looking forward to, so fire those off as well. Joe says we ain't losing. Go Birds. That's some confidence there, but I believe. I was on Fran Duffy's podcast before, and just before we hit record on the podcast, he's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "How you doing? It's got to be great for you. Yeah. You're 3-0. You're in the clouds right now." So Joe said he's got his Batman mask ready as well for when Watkins scores a touchdown. For when Fast Batman gets the touchdown this time.
God damn it.
All right, maybe not.
Hey, before we get too far along here.
Yes.
And we're talking about the chat, Vanden Vale wants me to ask you guys if you can name all the first rounders in the Burrow versus Tua LSU Alabama game.
Can we name all the first rounders? Okay. Yeah.
That year or just since then?
No. I think I think he's saying
just in that game.
Everybody who was drafted in the first round in that game.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. From 2019, so the 2020 draft or the subsequent drafts too. So
I think all of them.
Okay.
I think all of the drafts. Is that correct? Am I saying that right? All of the first rounders that were.
He didn't really specify, but whatever you guys. 2019
I think
or 2020.
let's say all.
There
was
a lot
rounders.
of them. Okay, that's a good question.
Let's go Bengals offense first. Joe Burrow.
Oh no, you're saying LSU Bama from the 2019.
Oh.
That all the first rounders from that game. So it was,
I should learn how to read.
On the Bama offense, you have literally all the wide receivers, right? So you had Ruggs, you had Judy, you had Devontae Smith, you had Jalen Waddle, you had Tua, you had I believe Jedrick Wills at right tackle. You had probably Evan Neal at guard in that.
Evan Neal would have been a guard. Was Jonah Williams still there or no?
Alex Leatherwood at left tackle.
Oh yeah, who was also a first rounder. He was gone. Najee Harris.
Yeah, Najee. You had Jesus Christ. Defensive side of the ball, you had Surtain. You have
Trayvon wasn't a first round pick.
That might be it for the defense side of the ball at the moment. I'm trying to think.
I can't think of a pass rusher or anybody who would have.
And then LSU, you had again wide receivers. You had Chase
Burrow, Jefferson, Chase.
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
How? But he was a first rounder. Defense side of the ball, you had Patrick Queen, Derek Stingley Jr., and I think that might have been it.
Nobody on the defensive line? I don't think so.
Line.
Did you say Devin White? Was he there?
He was not.
He was not there. He was gone. He was gone already. Grant Delpit was a second-round pick. Trayvon Diggs was a second-round pick.
Christian Fulton, second-round pick.
Christian Fulton was a second-round pick. So I think that was it.
That's it.
I think that was it. But
Did we get 'em all?
holy cow,
Did we
that's
get 'em all?
stacked.
I don't know. He didn't give me the answers.
Well,
This
all
is
right.
just
Well,
totally on the fly. Great question.
that was a very good question. That was a very good question.
I'll look it up here. LSU draft picks history and Bama.
Okay, Harris, Ruggs, Alaire. I don't think Devin White was in it. That game was BJ said that game was stacked. It was truly good. Oh,
yeah.
Caleb on Chason.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Wasn't he in that game?
Yeah, shit. Caleb on Chase and the guy I just saw who I
Shout
guess
out Abe
didn't
for that.
play, but Mac Jones.
Mac Jones
was on the team.
Mac Jones was on the team.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah. LSU, let's see.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
I think we got it.
I think we got
Chason and Mac Jones were the two that we missed.
Because he hasn't done dog shit in the NFL.
Well, he's played. Dude, that was a great question. Unbelievable game. Look, that game was billed as a future NFL team versus an NFL team, and it absolutely lived up to the hype, which was fantastic. Well, we've got a pretty big matchup in the division of the AFC South. You mentioned the Jags. How for real are they? Well, if the Jags drop one of the Eagles, which I think most people would say probably most likely, that means that the AFC South is still wide open. That means that there is a chance for the Colts to still climb back, even though they had a slow start. It means that the Titans have a chance to come back after their slow start as well. So to preview this game and so much more, Mike and I actually sat down with Colts edge rusher Kwity Paye earlier this week. Check it out. All right, joining It's Just Football, now we have Colts defensive end Kwity Paye. First question right off the bat. You're a year and a couple of games in. Who are some of the best offensive tackles that you've gone up against?
Taylor Lewan was a good one. He just changed up his sets a whole bunch. So, as a DN, try to get our rhythm and whatnot. And when you change up your sets, it's kind of like it's hard for me to know how you're setting and whatnot. So, Taylor from the Jaguars, right tackle. Really good tackle.
I know you've got a pretty damn good offensive lineman in Quentin Nelson that you got to go up and practice all the time. I'm curious, have you ever been pancaked by Quentin in practice? Have you ever knocked him over? What's been those battles?
Q's a good practice player. He's not going to try to dump you over and pancake you in practice.
So there's not a list of guys who are trying to get on the other side, trying to go against the right guard and stay away from Quentin so that he doesn't, put the nuts on your face?
Not really, no.
Was there a first time when you were in the NFL when you went up against offensive tackle and you were like, all right, I'm going to do this move. This always worked at college. And then whoever it was just stoned you and you were like, oh no.
It was against the Rams actually, Whitworth. I was just like, I'm going to just work speed against him, thinking he's an older guy. He's probably not going to want to get out there and block me and whatnot. But he was out there moving, so.
What's it been like without the leader of your defense early on this season? Shaq Leonard, formerly Darius Leonard. Obviously been sidelined throughout this year.
Shaq seems like such a focused and serious guy. What is it like having him in? Is he like the hype guy in the locker?
He's out there dancing, telling him to blast the music and whatnot. So he just brings that juice, brings that energy. And then when we get into the game, he's just that guy where he's going to make that tackle. Everyone just flocks him because we know that ball's going to come out. And he just brings so much more than just the intensity. He's a great ball player.
Who is the biggest dog on this defense in terms of just brings it every single day, is always going to show up?
I think I may have to go with the interior guys, Buck and Grove. Those two guys come in and they give us our energy, and they play hurt, they play banged up. Just playing with those guys give me the confidence to just go out there and ball. When I'm out there with those guys, I'm just like, man, I can't slack. So when the D tackles are balling out, I feel like I have to ball out as well.
Let's talk about Michigan more, though, because obviously special last season. What was it like for you?
It was great. Every Saturday, I was locked in before we went to travel, having my helmet on in the living room, watching my guys ball out, for them to finally beat Ohio State, go to the Big Ten championship. And how was it talking smack in the locker room with Paris Campbell and Tyquan Lewis and those guys when Michigan finally beat them? But come on, y'all have a bet? You got to tell me, do you guys have something on the line for the game? Oh, for sure. It's mandatory though. Like if your college is facing someone else's college, it's man law. Like there has to be something put up. And with Taekwondo, man, I got me a nice pair of shoes with the money that I won from Taekwondo.
There you go. I love it. So Jim Harbaugh, obviously Michigan head coach. What was like your very first interaction with Jim Harbaugh and like your first impression when you very first met him?
Yeah, so when I was there, like sometimes we'll go into the weight room on our own time, we'll lift on our own and whatever. And Coach Harbaugh's in there pumping iron in the khakis though. And the khakis and the cleats and his hoodie and his hat, whatever it is, whatever he's wearing, he's gonna go and lift in that.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Picture Jim Harbaugh just, not even changing to do a workout. Then did he preach about milk to you at all? Because I know he's a big milk guy. Did he make you drink milk while you're at it?
So when we were there, he hated us eating chicken because he thought chicken was a nervous bird. So it was plenty of steak and potatoes.
That's true.
That's the coach I want to play for.
Nervous bird.
You guys have had kind of an up and down season to start the year, but man, there's been so much fight in your group, especially going back to this last week. Talk to me about just the fight this team has, the heart that this team has, what y'all are telling yourselves behind the scenes in the locker room, and why you still believe in this group to be a good one.
For us, I feel like our thing is it's not over until it's over. This past game was the guy to have it win. And Lucas Oil, first home game, and Chiefs came in and we were like, this is a good team, but I feel like we're a good team as well, and we just had to go in there and win that game.
Kwity, thank you so much for joining us. We know it's a busy time during the season. We appreciate you joining It's Just Football. Best of luck the rest of the way, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The interview, no question about it. Can't eat chicken.
The nervous bird.
It's a nervous bird. It's a nervous bird. Can't even put it in the body. Can't even get those hormones in the body. Get it out. Steak and potatoes.
See, it's funny because like Cristiano Ronaldo is like he only eats chicken, right? Like he's like
he
really?
Thinks
chicken's like.
Well, I mean he's ripped, so like there's no fat on that.
But also it's kind of a different kind of ripped. Like he has to do cardio and it has to be very active as opposed to like actually physically moving someone against their will, like powerlifting, strength, sort of. So. Teach their own. It's worked out for him, Buck. The Michigan program's on the rise.
Meat cereal, just a bowl of ground beef and mustard.
That sounds lit, actually. I love meat mustard. Mustard's like I put mustard on everything.
That's your stuff. What's the weirdest thing that you put mustard on? Now I have to know because you said it.
Oh man, I mean I'll just put mustard on like a piece of bread.
And you just eat it? Yeah, you're a psychopath. Toast. You're just a psychopath. Listen, like that. You just toast it and just throw a little spicy mustard on there.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what?
It's not bad.
That's not that bad. Look, I put it on sandwiches. So,
yeah, I mean it's just like a sandwich without the.
Yeah, like a hot dog, a sandwich.
Yeah.
He's just like it's meat, mustard. You got the bread. It's right there. But dude, shout out to Kwity for joining the show. That was a lot of fun getting to talk about him, about Michigan football, about the Colts. Talking about how that defensive line that he plays with, Buckner, Grove, like all those dudes. He the first thing he mentions is like, dude, they're playing hurt, like they're playing all out, all of that, and it just inspires you. And I feel like that never say die attitude exists with the Colts. And even though they have been so slow out of the gate, this is a team that, again, if the Jags drop the game to the Eagles, it's still wide open with who could win this division. And when it comes to the playoffs, you just gotta have the momentum headed into the year. Like it's just about hitting the timing right. November, December could still be Indianapolis' time. So. Yeah, I thought that was tough.
It's got to come down to the offense, right? You can't score. They've not scored more than 20 points in a game yet this season. The defense has been doing their side, holding up their end of the bargain for most part of this season. Held the Chiefs to 17 points. So it's going to come down to Matt Ryan and his receiving core figuring shit out.
Abe said mustard on quesadillas?
Ooh, I haven't actually tried that, but that does sound good. I am going to literally do that today.
Somebody also called out how you say it's not milk, you say milk.
Yeah, it's milk. I'm from Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin shirt on. I have a Wisconsin accent that comes out when I say milk, when I say bag. Apparently I say bagel. Weird, too.
Bonker says, does Harbaugh know the cows are a slow animal? Not really, I don't know the explosiveness of cows. I mean, they're packing on a lot of weight, so.
Have you ever tried to move a cow against its will?
Have you ever, cow tipping?
It's the cows eat double teams for, like Damon Harrison.
Last one, Jared said, I don't eat any condiments, 0. I couldn't live like that.
Yeah, you're a psychopath.
Yeah, no, I could not live like that. Condiments are absolutely life.
Where are the bodies, Connor?
Are you a ranch or blue cheese guy? We've made it 3 weeks on the spot.
Ranch, 100%. I will never. I will eat blue cheese, but I will never willingly go out of my way to have blue cheese. Okay. Like if blue cheese is on a salad and I want that salad, I will remove the blue cheese dressing. I'll ask for a different dressing.
Okay,
so
good.
I'm anti-blue cheese.
You asked the
that.
waiter for both like a goddamn adult.
No.
You asked the waiter for both?
Yeah. Like for wings.
For wings.
If they like, do you want ranch or blue cheese? I'll be like, oh, can I have both, please? Side of both, please.
Well, at least you're polite about it. I mean, the
Yeah.
answer's still half wrong, but
I
you're
like
polite
to give
about
myself
it.
options.
Okay.
What is blue cheese, by the way? I've never thought of it, but why is it so funky?
It's just like a sour cheese, just like sour cheese.
I guess I'm not deep enough in the cheese game. You'd think I would be coming from Wisconsin. But
We'll
I guess
hit
I don't know shit about
we'll hit a
cheese.
charcuterie night. We'll diversify your cheese palate. Des also say the word pillow. How do you say the word pillow?
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 Pillow? A pillow?
I feel like that one's not that weird. I don't know. I'd never heard of the pillow one. Anyways, we're getting too deep into the weeds now. Let's talk about some bold predictions that we have for the upcoming week. Each of us has one. Mike, where are you going with yours? What's your bold prediction for week 4?
This isn't particularly bold, truthfully.
Oh, good. Yeah, just take the segment and just absolutely crap on it. That's fine.
But, because both teams are favored in this, but the Browns are going to take over sole possession of first place in the AFC North.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's not that bold, but
I mean,
say your case. Go
Travel
ahead.
to the Falcons. They're favored in that game. Ravens play the Bills. Bills are favored in that game. So, yeah, it's going to take both those things to happen. But, shit, they're going to be 3-1 if they obviously beat the Atlanta Falcons. That's my bold prediction, obviously, so I think they will. 3-1 without Deshaun Watson. You know, in one of the tougher divisions in the NFL with not a super hard sort of slate. Like, they then face the Chargers, then are at home against the Patriots, probably without Mac Jones. Like, they could take commanding lead of this division. And then, yeah, it starts to get a little bit difficult. They do have to go to the Bills. They do have the Bucs in their schedule. They do have to go to Miami. Do have to go to Baltimore. But if they can just hold their head above water, if they can be above 500 when Sean comes back, the rest of the AFC North could be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if you would have said before the season the Browns are going to start 3-1, that would have been a bold prediction.
They could be 4. They should be 3-0 right now too. It's a crazy thing. If they didn't have that insane Jets loss, they would be 3-0.
Right? No. Well, look, this is one of the best rosters on paper.
It is. Yeah,
right?
it is.
This is one of the best rosters in the NFL on paper.
Yeah.
So, as shocking as it is that they're doing all this with their backup quarterback, it's still an experienced backup quarterback in Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for backup quarterbacks that you would want to play, he's got to be near the top of the list. But that's kind of my thoughts there.
It was a tame bold prediction.
It's that one. Look, that was a little.
Yeah, we know.
That was a little weak, but we're asking you guys in the chat, what is your bold prediction for the Sunday slate coming up in the NFL? Abe says Colts dominate the Titans and set up for a really interesting rematch with the Jags. So that's a bold prediction there. My bold prediction, I think Denver edge rusher Randy Gregory has a multi-sack game against the Raiders coming up. I wanted to get even bolder and say that at the end of this week, Randy Gregory would lead the NFL in sacks, but I could not do that in all good conscience because Micah Parsons does in fact exist, and he's already got 4. Randy Gregory only has 2, so in order to actually predict that, I would have had to think that Randy Gregory would get 3 sacks this week, which would be a little tough. But you look at the pass rush win rate, it's right there, 25.9%. That's 3rd in the NFL amongst edge rushers who have at least 20 pass rush reps. He's got 14 pressures, which is also 3rd in the NFL, and he's got those 2 sacks, like I said there. Raiders' offensive line, not great. It's either right in the middle when it comes to grades and output, or they're right below in some categories as well. So this is not one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. Randy Gregory's been playing really well lately, so I'm going to say he keeps his sack streak alive, and I think he's got a multi-sack game if he gets 2 in him this week.
Oh, I agree. I do. I said when he got signed by the Broncos, I said it was one of the best signings in free agency because he's a real deal edge rusher. Like, that guy can get after quarterbacks and really turned it on last year. Obviously has, kind of turned his career around after not being able to see the football field early on. So the Dallas Cowboys have to be looking at him playing over in Denver and just being like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the F did we just do
right
this offseason? Because him, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, 7 pressures this past week. Those 3 guys, together and healthy would have been nightmare fuel.
Insane.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Legit Super Bowl defense. But now they're still just kind of in that tier of good defense, not going to carry you on that side of the ball.
All right, we got Ian Hartitz with us, so fire away on your start-sit questions. I'll read a couple of bold predictions before we bring Ian into the show, but just wanted to let you guys know, fire out all the start-sits as we get into it. It shadows to Davis Mills throws for 400 yards. 400 against the Chargers, a beat-up Chargers defense. That is, in fact,
that's bold.
A bold prediction
bold.
Right there.
We're out bolding me.
You were out bolding Mike.
I'm 8-point font. little bold. That's like 100-point font. Fucking double underlined, strike through. That thing's bold.
Gary says the Jags get the dub in Philly. That would, in fact, be a bold prediction. Andrew says Alex Highsmith gets 3 more sacks. Alex Highsmith, I don't know if you knew this, but leads the NFL in sacks right now, 4.5.
I actually did not know that.
So Alex Highsmith gets 3 more sacks
Charlotte
and
legend.
holds on to his position, leading the NFL in sacks. Land says Tom Brady, over 1.5 Surface tablets smashed. I don't know if that's a bold prediction, though.
Yeah, that's his
average.
Yeah,
it seems like
his per game average. Is
Jack
like
says
3.
the Jets beat the Steelers by 14 plus.
Zach Wilson season. We haven't talked much about Zach, but
Well, we haven't.
That is one thing I meant to highlight when we had all the games up. He's back. The MILF Slayer's back. I get to see him play football instead of talking about his dating life. Even though I do enjoy
You had to
talking
get
about
one.
his
You
dating
had
life.
you
I
had
do
to
enjoy
get
talking
you
about
had to
it.
get one more in there. All right, let's get Ian in here. Let's get Ian into the show. It's one of everybody's favorite segments every single week because Ian is the king when it comes to all fantasy football predictions. Ian, appreciate you joining the show, my friend.
Tyler Lockett, $150 and 2 touchdowns. That's my bold prediction, guys. I think we get the same lockdown coverage on DK Metcalf we had on Justin Jefferson. Leaves Tyler Lockett from an average Geno Smith, not the worst quarterback in the league. How about them apples?
Dude, I love it. Coming out of the gate, swinging with predictions, getting in on the segment. I absolutely love it. Tyler Lockett, a fan favorite for a lot of people for sure. What else you got? I'm looking at your list here. I'm looking at the start list, some players that you like. You got Josh Jacobs, you got Jamal Williams, you got Khalil Herbert. Who do you want to talk about there from that group that you also want to boast as players that you definitely want to start this week?
Jamal Williams need to now, especially now that we got direct confirmation that DeAndre Swift and unfortunately his son God are going to be missing this game. So last year, Jamal Williams, we actually did see 3 games without DeAndre Swift, and he was flirting with 20 touches every single time, even though he was pretty banged up in his own right. So all offseason long, we've been dubbing Jamal Williams as this year's potential James Conner. So far, we've seen the standalone value scoring the goal line touchdowns when Swift has been healthy. When he's not, I mean, we saw it in Green Bay a couple years ago when Aaron Jones was banged up. Like, Jamal Williams really can play every single down. I believe he's going to have the chance to do so. And what's the second-ranked scoring offense right now, guys? It's hilarious. The Lions, well, it's not hilarious for Lions fans, but in fantasy, we have these terrible starts to the season where your team is, 1-2, but you have the second-ranked scoring offense, but teams are scoring more points against you than anyone else. That's unfortunately just reality for the Detroit Lions at this point in time.
I wanted to ask about the New York Jets now that we just talked about them. What do you think of their skill position players? Now with Zach Wilson coming back, guys like Garrett Wilson who have been producing a ton, guys like Elijah Moore who haven't been producing a ton, who didn't produce a lot when Zach Wilson was on the field. Who do you think is going to benefit? Who do you think may not benefit from his return?
Mature move by you not to slip another MILF reference, Mike. But yeah, just I'm mostly hands off right now with this unit. I just don't think that we have enough confidence in Zach Wilson right now. We saw this happen last year when Mike White came under center and was just checking down to his heart's desire. And Flacco came in and did some decent things as well. But when we saw Michael Carter and even Ty Johnson was a thing in the fantasy world this time last year, it was because it didn't have a gunslinger like Zach Wilson, not taking the easy thing and instead trying to throw the rock 60 yards downfield to whoever. Really fun to watch. Maybe not the best thing for the fantasy managers right now, though. I'm just afraid that a limited version of Zach Wilson is going to crumble this entire offense, guys. Like, that's the problem here. I think the Jets did as good of a job of any team as getting their second-year quarterback, a bunch of weapons and just a good, theoretically good when they're healthy, offensive line around him. We saw how Trevor Lawrence went from looking last year to actually looking good this year. So not every quarterback, has to be Justin Fields out there playing with pretty much the worst group of skill position players around him. So hopefully they elevate Zach Wilson, but I'd like to see it first before we go too far in on anybody. So Garrett Wilson, still a wide receiver 3 for me, and maybe Elijah Moore, finally gets things going. But generally we'll be answering most start-sit questions involving the Jets player with the other guy.
All right, keep firing off your start-sit questions. I see you guys flooding them in the chat, and we'll get to those in a second. We'll go a little rapid fire with Ian. I see on your sit category, you have James Robinson, but then you have the words to an extent. So explain the to an extent here. What do you think about James Robinson this week?
That's always the thing. Like, it just depends on the roster. But I would just point out that the James Robinson, takeover, I think it's been a little bit overstated. These last 2 weeks, I mean, they killed the Colts 24-0, and they killed the Chargers by 28 points. So those are the ideal game scripts for James Robinson. But don't get it twisted. This still is a 2 RB backfield. In week 1, when things were closer, they were in comeback mode against Washington. Travis Etienne outsnapped James Robinson in that game. He still has been relied on as the pass down back. So even though Robinson has been able to hit some big plays, and fair play to him for doing so. I don't think that's something we can necessarily rely on every single week. ETN still does have that explosive pass catching profile that we led a lot of us to draft him early in the first place. So for me, ETN really maybe could get going this week. It finally could be the sort of negative, comeback mode game script against the Eagles that we saw in the past. Guys like DeAndre Swift last year, and honestly, guys like Austin Eckler this year live on in fantasy football. Doesn't make sense how just catching a simple check down, is the equivalent to picking up 10 rushing yards, but it's the game we play. And because of that, guys like ETN, once they can start stepping into that high volume pass down role, really hard to get away from them in full PPR.
I just wanted to point out, you guys see the beautiful predictive data there. That is from the PFF app. So if you don't have it yet, go to the Apple Store, go download the PFF app. You can see all the fantastic predictive data and all the other great fantasy football tools that we have there. If you don't have it,
it's our start sit tool is the best thing, man. Like, look, I try to take time every single week to answer as many start sit questions, but we literally have player A, player B. You get to see my rankings, Kevin Cole, Nathan Yonke. And so, yeah, if you just think I'm an idiot, then you can listen to Nate and Kevin or vice versa. A lot of options for you guys, and it's right there at the palm of your hand.
Everybody loves the options. Everybody loves. You got one more before we get to start sit?
I was going to go chat questions.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to go. First one from chat was Dalvin Cook or Khalil Herbert.
Ooh.
Still got to go Dalvin Cook whenever he's healthy enough to be out there. He did get in a full practice yesterday. Hey, we all remember the 200-plus yard game against Pittsburgh last year. That came when he was a game-time decision with the shoulder. Not ideal, but I'm taking the Vikings offense over the Bears.
Okay. All right. Flex, Dobbins or a slightly injured Keenan Allen? What do you think about that?
I'm worried Keenan's even going to play. I mean, they said he left practice yesterday, with a trainer. So if he comes into the game and it's like a game time decision type of thing, like Keenan could actively be limited, I probably would sit, the injured Keenan Allen in this situation. J.K. Dobbins, we do have Harbaugh saying Justice Hill looked like a star last week. So I don't ever think we're going to get the Baltimore, one single back taken over. But I thought Dobbins looked relatively healthy, and it should be, a matter of now when, not if, he's back to getting 15 to 20 carries per week.
Here's a good question. This guy's going deep in his bag. Greg Dortch, Jeff Wilson, or Brandon Ayuk?
Ooh.
I'm gonna roll with Jeff Wilson still, but yeah, Greg Dortch. As someone that hyped Rondale Moore all offseason, every single time I see Greg Dortch make a catch, I'm just like, damn it, Ian. But with Jeff Wilson, like, we didn't really see it last week because it was a down game for Jimmy Garoppolo. But really, moving from Trey Lance to Jimmy Garoppolo, it's gonna be a good thing for these running backs and wide receivers in the long run. Maybe not the overall upside of the offense, but we really see this with running backs in teams with dual threat quarterbacks. It's why the Bills, it's why the Ravens, it's why the Eagles, even though they're amazing offenses, haven't always had amazing running backs in fantasy football. When you have the mobile quarterback, also factoring into the equation on the goal line, running the ball, and they're usually scrambling instead of checking down the ball otherwise. So Jeff Wilson now just really taking over as the undisputed lead back in San Fran. Debo's going to still get a few carries. Kyle Juszczyk will do his things here and there. But as much as everyone wants Jordan Mason to become a thing, only one touch last week. Tyrion Davis-Price out with the high ankle sprain. Elijah Mitchell not coming back anytime soon. Jeff Wilson, low-key, as good as bet as anyone to get 20-plus touches during any given week.
Okay, so there are a couple of questions related to this guy, so I'll just ask you the one that's point blank. Is Austin Eckler washed? Because there's a lot of start. Hey, do I start Austin Eckler or this guy? Austin Eckler or this guy? And then with this person, JM just goes straight. Is Austin Eckler washed? That's all I want to know. What's the outlook on Austin Eckler for you right now?
Chargers are the only team in the NFL without a carry of at least 15 yards after 3 weeks of football. So it's not looking good, but it's a team effort in the run game. I think we all realize that. Hey, like we talked about with Travis Etienne, we can just get those late game checkdowns. That's really what we need in fantasy football. And this year, in quarters 1 through 3, first 45 minutes of the game, Austin Eckler is the RB31. In the fourth quarter, he's the RB3 overall. So, I do think we'll see them get back to Eckler a little bit better on the ground game because it can't get any worse at this point. But at the end of the day, the dude's on pace to catch 117 passes this year, and it's going to be impossible to get away from him if he's going to have that sort of receiving volume. So, in terms of ranking him the top 3, top 5 every single week like you drafted him to do, no, and I am off at that point, but I still do think he's someone that should be in your top 12 during each and every week. I have him ranked now next to like Aaron Jones and Najee Harris as opposed to McCaffrey, but hey, all guys we should be starting regardless.
You got one more? I got one more.
Quarterback this week.
Okay.
Brady or Rodgers?
Rodgers. No. I'm going Tom Brady. He's got his weapons back. That's the thing. I don't think we're seeing, the Drew Brees or Peyton Manning late career noodle arm here. I mean, that week 2 game against the Saints especially, like just the amount of balls that Scotty Miller almost had, the touchdown to Brashad Perryman. To me, TB12's arm looks absolutely fine. take away any quarterback's literal top 3 wide receivers, and I
Right.
don't think they're going to look that good. I mean, this was basically Brady in 2019 trying to play with the Patriots still, and we thought he was washed then. So getting Evans back this week, apparently Julio's going to try to play. Godwin seems to be getting closer. I think Brady's one of the better buy low quarterbacks in all of football. So Rodgers, we're seeing kind of already, I think, what we're going to get the rest of the year. Hyper efficient, overqualified game manager, and offense that would prefer to go through the running backs when it can. With the Buccaneers, I do think Brady will be back to being, vying for the league lead in dropbacks as soon as these guys are all back.
All right, last one, and I just want to throw this one out there because I know a lot of people are in this situation. Sean's asking, just lost Amon-Ra St. Brown for the week. You got to pick 2 of these guys, Brandon Ayuk, Romeo Doubs, or Greg Dortch.
I'm going to go Ayuk and Dobbs here. The only concern with Dortch is that Rondale Moore is practicing and seemingly back in action. So I just think that those guys could potentially be splitting up the slot snaps and just make things more difficult for Dortch. So give me Ayuk, someone who's similar in the same vein as Jeff Wilson, should benefit over the long term from having Jimmy G under center. And Romeo Doubs, guys, I didn't catch your Dog of the Week segment. I love it, though. I didn't catch it this week, but hopefully Romeo got some love there just with what he's been able to do, stepping in as that number 1. And just, it's rare when we talk about in fantasy sometimes where we don't want to always take the one little hype piece about a player and make that our entire way we view someone, but we have this steady drumbeat over the course of training camp and the preseason, and now into the regular season with our eyes from Aaron Rodgers' mouth himself. I mean, it really is looking up for Romeo Doubs. So this will be a great week to see how much having a healthy Christian Watson is going to play into Dobbs's overall playing time, but might not be very long, guys, before we're saying Romeo Doubs is an every week starter in fantasy land. Not something I expected to be saying, back in April when they took him in the 4th round. But hey, it's Aaron Rodgers leading the offense. Why not?
I don't think that we had him as a Dog of the Week, but he could be Ian's Dog of the Week, which means that he got it in the show. We got it in the show. Romeo Doubs. Absolute dog. Ian, you're Dog of the Week as well, my friend. You're always fantastic with the start sits out of nowhere, man. Like Ian said, go check out the PFF app. We've got a start sits tool right there. If you got an Apple device, go search Pro Football Focus or PFF on the App Store. Ian, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you, guys. Go Bucks. Rutgers is dead.
Ohio.
They are.
Big Ohio State guy.
I'll add this about Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
They're giving him scheme targets. It's not
Clearly,
just they are trying to get the ball in his hands. It is not, which is rare for a rookie 4th rounder. So that's whenever a guy's getting scheme targets, that's like a safe bet that he's going to consistently produce, at least for fantasy.
Last thing, let's get the people out of here on some money. Mike and I pointed this out to each other right before the show.
The dog lays.
We've got some dog lays for our $5 parlays. If you're new to the show here, every Friday we call it $5 Friday. Throw $5 down on at least a 3-leg parlay. Maybe absolutely cash out and get some serious money throughout the weekend. Get some extra beer money, get some extra food money, whatever it is to enjoy the college football or NFL games this weekend. So, Mike, what is your $5 Friday parlay that we got
We're
this
just
week?
addicted to dogs here. I'm addicted to saying dogs, and I'm addicted to picking dogs. And now we have 3 dogs, straight money lines, Ravens, Saints, Jags. $5 nets you $78. Those all hit. I was close last week. Like the Texans dogged me by not winning outright, but I called the Dolphins and I called the Broncos. This week I'm praying 3 more. No one dogged me here. The $5 dog lay.
I like 2 of those.
I
have the same 2. I have the same 2 if we want to show mine. So your payout $78. I also have the Ravens money line. I think that's easy. It's a game between 2 really good players, 2 really good quarterbacks. Why not take the plus 35 for the Ravens? Jags, throw some money at the win. Maybe they get it done here. Plus 220. I like that. Yeah. That's up in the price. And then Titans against the Colts. I'll go with the Titans. I think these teams are evenly matched. They're divisional teams. They know each other very well. I can absolutely see the Titans beating the Colts in Indianapolis. You throw $5 on the line, you win yourself 94. When we started this segment, Mike, week 1, I think that my parlay, I had around like $45, and I was like, ooh, that's a lot of money for a $5 bet. Like $45, not bad. And now like I can't even get out of bed on a Friday if it's not above 75. I'm like, no. We gotta up these numbers. We gotta up these. Those are rookie numbers. You gotta get those up. We gotta get somewhere above 75. So
when we hit on one, it's gonna be sick.
Dude, it is going to be sick.
It's going to be so sick.
It is going to be sick. The weekend is going to be fantastic. Yeah, Felipe says that's bold. I don't know which one he's talking about, but either one. Both of those are pretty bold. We're leaning heavily on the Jags.
Yeah.
Jags got to get it done.
They got the horses, man. Defense is for real. They second highest run defense grade in the NFL, going up against obviously one of the best rush teams in the NFL. Excited to see that heavyweight bout.
You don't often see the Jags in a must-watch game unless it's a Thursday night football game in which there's no other football on. But I think that's exactly what we have this weekend. The question of the day was, since the merger, there have been 236 teams that have started 3-0. How many of those teams made the playoffs? Mike, you said 162. I said 207. Fire off your last guesses right now. We are playing Price is Right rule, so you can't go over. It's the closest without going over. I don't know. It feels like whoever gets this question right is going to be the chat champ going into the weekend. So you get the chat champ title for an extra day going into Monday.
One thing I want to know that I should know, but I'm not too big of a football historian. How many playoff teams were there in 1975? So, is what I'm curious about. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. But
how many straight up teams were there?
That's what I don't know. I said I don't. I'm very curious. I need to go back and look it up. But
all right, numbers are flooding in. Numbers are flooding in here. I want to give them a couple more seconds. I want to give the good people a couple more seconds. That is actually a really good question though, because it's not like there were this many teams.
There were 8 playoff teams in 1975.
Okay.
And there were.
Oh yikes! Not like 8 per conference. There were just 8 total. Oh, my guess might be a little high. My guess might be a little high here. No, but still, it's just teams that started 3-0.
Yeah.
So I'm still confident here. I'm still pretty confident. I'm going
24 teams then.
I'm going 2. I'm still going. I'm not changing my answer. I'm going 207.
Okay.
And you're going 162.
162.
All right. Get the final answers in. What is it, Quinn? Tell us, because we got to scroll up and find out who is closest.
178.
Ooh, 178.
So Mike gets it from the studio.
That's good. All right, so
I get it from Not Prices Right.
Yeah, you just did. This is a straight win. 178.
I saw some guesses.
Is what it was. Not an expert said 178, but did they say it after we announced it? I don't know. Who else is close? Abe said 163, so he $1 bobbed you.
Yeah, he did.
Abel Fett, he might be our chat champ today. He had a good guess on that. He's been exceptionally attentive in the chat.
You know what?
He had a good hot take. He says the Colts are going to dominate the Titans.
You know what? Let's give it to him.
Yeah.
Let's give it to him.
Go,
not an expert. If you got it right on the dot, I'm still giving you props for it. I don't know if you heard the answer or not. I'm gonna believe in the better of humanity, and I'm gonna say that you guessed it beforehand. So I will give you credit there. But Abel Fett, our chat champ of the day going into the weekend. That means you get an extra day to enjoy being the chat champ. And then on Monday, Abel, you got to be back in the chat. You got to show up on Monday at 11 a.m. because we're gonna have a lot to talk about over the weekend, and we need you to be the tiebreaker for the chat. We need you to be the ambassador as the chat champ. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. That was a great question.
I like that.
Jared said that not an expert said it before. So
nice.
You know what?
Well done.
I'll also believe. I'll also believe in Jared. Mm-hmm. Hats off to Abel Fett. Incredible job in the chat today. Incredible job by everybody in the chat today. This is a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys joining the show. This is a blast to do. Every week is a blast to be on this show.
Yeah, I agree.
Best part about it is we got another week coming up.
More football.
You absolutely love it. Dude, I'll just say this too. I know we predominantly talk NFL here.
The slate.
College football slate is also neat. Enjoy some incredible football, whether it's college football tomorrow or NFL football on Sunday. We will be back at 11 a.m. right here to talk about all of it. For Trevor, that is Mike. For everybody in the production studio, thank you guys so much for watching. It's just football. We'll see you next week.
It's not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.